Hi, Alan. So, first swing on the left-hand side, and then a swing towards the end of the lesson on the right-hand side. So, major sort of changes was really just improving the grip, really predominantly. Well, really with both hands. Um, really again, that's what we changed initially, and you can see. I mean, the two differences um, visually that it you know sort of shows from front on is quite different. And we didn't really talk too much about the posture, and again, it's certainly not the finished article, but it's really trying to put yourself and the wrist conditions into a better chance. Getting it away from the club face being so closed, and actually getting some loft on the ball was the biggest thing. So if we just run through the swing on the left first of all, so as you would take the club back, the club face would get very, very closed. We won't kind of go down the lines of, using the big long words for what the wrists do, purely just because it's just easier to understand if we don't. We'll just say that the back of the left hand, when the shaft's pretty much parallel to the ground, just points directly at the ground. The face gets just ridiculously closed. And the problem is if you were to come down on a normal sort of club path with the club face being in such a closed position, we're just gonna hit the ball sort of left and further left. So what your brain would do now with the club face being so closed is try and facilitate that and swing excessively over to the right hand side. So the club path initially we were looking at sort of upwards of 20 degrees to the right, which is virtually unplayable, really, being really honest. So if we just go now to the swing on the right hand side, just so you're sort of clear what you're trying to do when you video your own swing at home or at the range. Because of the grip change that you've made now, you can see as we work the club back, there's much less leverage with the wrist. Again, keeping it simple. The watch on obviously your left arm now points a little bit more at the wall. The club face doesn't get as closed. You can see as we come back, we put a level of forearm rotation, so you can actually set the club quite nicely. Again, if we go to the old one, where the left arm is parallel to the ground, which is pretty much here, you can see the two dramatic changes that we've got there. And again, a lot of it was through the grip and just understanding how the wrist bends, rotates, etc., etc. So when you get to the top of your position at the top of the swing now, you're actually in a position where you've got a chance to sort of start your downswing, and you're not trying to put so many more variables along the way down to deal with the fact that the face is sort of so closed on the way back here. So initial from lesson one is literally, if you can practice getting to this position on the right hand side, we're looking for a slightly, a flatter left wrist. Obviously getting used to the grip's going to be a big thing. Club face looking a little bit more neutral like we've got it here, as opposed to the face just looking directly at the camera. And then from here now we can start to understand that we want to swing a little bit more down, and let's just call it straight. So I've just put two white sticks on the ground here just to try and give you that initial feeling. You don't now need to swing so much to the right, because the club face angle at the top of the swing is in a much better position. So I think the best thing to use and how to use this video is if you can just visually look at position number one here versus position number one here. Reference to number two is when the shaft's parallel to the ground versus the old one of here. And really just copy the positions that you get into when we go to 3 on the good one, which is left arm parallel to the ground, and then when we go to 4 at the top of the swing here, just totally different to the 4 positions on the left hand side. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions at all?